And mention fish food to get your free donut. The sweet treat is meant to celebrate an even sweeter victory for Knights over the San Jose Sharks. Ooh, we love that. And the Raiders fan convention will be held in Las Vegas for the first time today. The convention will give fans the chance to meet past Raiders legends, super fans, booster clubs, and vendors. They will also be able to participate in activities to win prizes. The Raiders fan convention will be held at Stoney's Rockin' Country on the Strip from noon until 6 p.m. And in 300 days, Allegiant Stadium is set to officially be complete. Governor Sisolak sharing the number of days left on the project yesterday through a tweet. Well, parking has been a hot topic for the stadium since only 2,700 spaces will be available at the site. Earlier this week, the Raiders purchased several parking lots and commercial buildings near the stadium. The team has spent more than $28 million for future parking sites. The Raiders president says these new areas will add about 2,700 additional spots. 96% of the personal seat licenses have already been sold, and they are expected to be sold out by Thanksgiving. Well, the Raiders are in London right now getting ready for their game against the Chicago Bears this weekend. The team flew straight to UK after their game against the Colts last week to get used to the time zone.
We've had a great acclimation here to the time zone, and the hotel setup is great. The practice field's sensational, and we're not going to have any negative impact on our performance because of the time zone. We'll be ready to go.
The Raiders and Bears will play at Tottenham Stadium Sunday morning at 10 Pacific time, and that's 6 p.m. London time. The UNLV men's and women's basketball teams return to Hardwood this weekend. Today is the school's basketball showcase. The event will take place outside Sam Boyd Stadium, an court once used at the Thomas and Mack Center. It is free to attend and will happen right before the football team hosts Boise State. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Good morning, everyone. Coming up, an act of kindness spreading at one school. How one student's small act is having a big impact on campus. A gorgeous sunrise underway for the start of your Saturday. We're waking up to temps in the low 60s this morning. Details on that weekend forecast coming up. An ad for a backyard studio in San Diego is raising eyebrows, mainly because the studio itself is a shed. The owner is asking for $1,050 a month to rent it out. The owner expects to get the asking price. After all, a prior tenant rented this for 2 years for $1,100 a month.
You know, maybe it is high for what it is offered at, but the reality is that the square footage and the location is exactly what this market needs.
The asking price is about $300 less than a typical North Park studio, and still, the listing alone is stirring emotions from renters on Reddit. People are calling it ridiculous. And an agent in Lansing, Michigan is listing a house with pictures that include the Ghostface character from the Scream movies. He said he wanted to generate some buzz for the 2-story, 4-bedroom house, and it is absolutely working. The listing has gone viral. The agent also says the listing has generated so much interest that he's scheduled several private showings, and he's already thinking about what kind of characters to use for different listings. I think he should use that kid, the child in the Grudge movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah. No, thank you.
Super scary, but if this is what he's going for, I think he should just create an array of characters that he could put in every house.
I do wonder if those characters are going to be there for the private showings.
That would be great.
That would be terrifying.
That would be experience.
Yeah.
You're getting a Halloween experience plus a showing.
We are getting in the Halloween spirit, but the temperatures are not so much. It really doesn't get cold until right around Halloween. This month is a season of change, definitely.
Summer-like?
It is more summer-like this weekend, although we are right on tap for seasonal averages for those highs. But we're waking up to some cooler temps. Taking a look outside right now, the sunrise is looking gorgeous for the start of your Saturday. Clear skies. It's going to be hard to find a cloud in the sky today. Here's a look at some of those temps around the region. We're looking at 57 degrees for Centennial Hills early this morning, 63 for Henderson, 64 in Boulder City, and Summerlin also still in the 50s this morning. Southern Highlands also hitting 59 degrees. High temps around the region. Yesterday we saw right around 87 degrees for Las Vegas, 89 for Overton, St. George at 82, and 76 for Caliente. So we saw some temps actually warmer than what we're expected to see today. We're going to be right around 85 degrees today. That UV index will be high as well. So if you're getting outside, you'll want to pack that sunscreen because we are seeing UV index right around 6 or 7. Air quality going to be moderate today. And if you are suffering from allergies, particularly ragweed, that's the one that you're going to see causing the most trouble for you the next couple of days. If you are hitting the pool, expected to be right around 78 degrees around noontime, so that water may feel a little bit chilly around that time. Afternoon, I think, is a better time to maybe hit the pool. We're looking at 84 degrees around then. Those winds nice and calm, 5 to 6 miles per hour. And by 6 p.m., we're looking at right around 82 degrees. And then that sun starts to set soon after. Winds are going to stay nice and calm for us today, right around 5-10 miles per hour. Even through the afternoon, things are staying really not much of a problem. Then as we get into tomorrow, we see some gustier conditions on the way for us. So this is a look at Sunday, 9 a.m. We're looking at 15-20 miles per hour. That means those gusts could be 25 miles per hour. So breezy conditions by mid-morning through the afternoon. Then it starts to calm down in the evening time for your Sunday. Those breezy conditions return, but until then, we're looking at lots of sunshine in effect for today into tomorrow. As we mentioned, it is going to be pretty difficult to find a cloud in the sky through the weekend with plenty of sunny conditions expected. Tonight, we're cooling down to 60 degrees for Las Vegas, Henderson at 59 for tonight, 58 in North Las Vegas, Mount Charleston at chilly 43, and Pahrump at 53 degrees tonight. So that 7-day planner showing 85 for today, 86 for tomorrow, right on tap for those seasonal averages. We're warming up by a few degrees by Tuesday, back into the 90s by midweek, and with that, those breezy conditions return, sticking around through Thursday, but those gusty conditions will help to usher in those cooler temps. We're cooling down by 10 degrees by Thursday, high of 76, and then a high of 75 degrees on Friday. Those overnight lows will dip into the low 50s territory.
Thanks, Kelsey. All right, this is a heartwarming story to start off your morning, everybody. An act of spreading kindness at a Massachusetts school, especially the unexpected kind, all inspired by an amazing young lady. David Wade has the story.
In the hallways of St. Agatha in Milton, the middle school kids are still talking about what one of their classmates did. Though in 13-year-old Jess LaFlamme's defense, her teacher started it.
Well, in my religion class, my teacher, Miss Perez, gave us an assignment to write about what we want our legacy to be when we leave the school.
Miss Perez had no idea what she was touching off.
Absolutely not. No, I just thought I'd get these 2 quick paragraphs and that would be it.
Instead, she got a sticky situation when Jess decided her legacy would be sticky notes.
I put a sticky note writing 2 nice things about everyone in the middle school in their lockers.
While her classmates were at an assembly, Jess popped from locker to locker, leaving dozens
72.
of the sweetest messages, personalized Post-its, all anonymous.
Everyone at the school has different talents. Some people in the school are very good artists, so I would write that you are an amazing artist.
A couple weeks later, classmates still hold tight to those tiny squares of positivity.
You are pretty and very smart. You are gorgeous and an amazing friend.
You are nice and funny.
You always make people laugh and you are a great friend.
You are so nice and always make everyone laugh.
You are so sweet and funny.
You are gorgeous and very funny.
Jess's proud parents were not surprised at all.
She always has a smile on her face. She's always got a dance going on. So, I think we learn more from her than she does from us.
As if this story wasn't sweet enough, there's more. After the kids discovered Jess's sticky note surprise, they turned into amateur detectives. They just needed to know who did this.
Jess would not confess.
But you wouldn't get any credit for it.
That doesn't matter.
By process of elimination, they figured it out, and then what resulted the next day was I never could have fathomed that was going to happen.
I was going to write her a note myself, but then I thought that other kids should too because she does everything for everyone.
Ava Boyle got dozens of kids to write all these notes to Jess.
We just wanted to do something nice for her so that she could feel excited, like how we felt.
And these pictures capture the moment that Jess's classmates pulled off the kindest form of revenge.
Everyone was standing around my locker, And I was like, okay. And then I opened it, and it was amazing.
And it was on the door, on the inside, it was everywhere, and she was totally overcome with emotion.
I cried. I was very overwhelmed.
At St. Agatha, kindness is so in right now, thanks to the girl who started off the school year
You are very pretty, and don't be afraid to be yourself.
on the right note.
You are very athletic and a good friend.
What a perfect story to run for a National Be Nice Day. That is today, everybody. Straight ahead, they got the job but didn't show up for work. The new disturbing trend of workplace ghosting. Getting a job offer, then never calling back. It's becoming known as workplace ghosting, similar to the term used in dating. People are simply disappearing and not communicating with employers. Annie Taylor breaks down the better option you should take when looking to land your dream job.
Not showing up for an interview, maybe not showing up for a phone call or returning a phone call, or even in some cases, not showing up to work.
In this hot of a job market, people are ghosting each other left and right. Former hiring manager Craig Cummings says he got used to new hires not showing up for the job.
It was probably a third of the time they would actually show up. 2/3 of the time, we just never heard back from them.
A recent survey by recruiting firm Robert Half says 28% of people backed out of a job offer. Why? Because they received a better offer from another company. Ghosting is happening more to employers during the hiring process. Karen Policastro with Robert Half says it may seem easier to avoid an awkward situation, but honesty is the best policy.
At minimum, it's easy to send an email and just explain, here's what's going on. Just make sure you follow up with a no thank you, but thank you.
Karen says leverage the better job offer. Call the company you're tempted to ghost.
You never know when they may come back with, hey, listen, I understand you have this opportunity. Let's see if we can up the ante on our opportunity.
Job seeker Evan has the right idea.
If I got the better offer, I would probably email them, let them know, give them a chance if they're trying to, increase the salary, increase the benefits, see if they can match that.
But ghosting works both ways. Job seeker Joshua Curry thought he made a good impression during an interview, but the potential employer never called him back.
If I send email, they usually get back to me, but if I try calling, not really. It seems to be a little bit more challenging in person, face to face.
No matter which side you stand on, you can fall back on this. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
This market will turn one day, and you don't want to burn any bridges. That may be an employer that you want to go back to down the road, and they'll remember you.
I don't ever believe in burning any bridge, especially for a company that was magnanimous and hired me and was willing to make an offer. I would see no reason to not reach out to them and leave them hanging.
I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
Good morning, Las Vegas. Still ahead this morning, a 10-year sentence for an officer convicted of murdering her neighbor. How the jury determined how much time Amber Geiger would spend behind bars.
13 Action News. Elevating Las Vegas. Good morning, Las Vegas.
Right now in Good Morning Las Vegas, a homeless ordinance leads to protests. Why some are opposed to the way city leaders plan to get the homeless off the streets. Plus, living in Las Vegas is getting more expensive. How much rent has gone up in the valley? And more parents opting out of public school and choosing homeschooling instead. The misconceptions some have about homeschooling. Good morning, Las Vegas. I'm Nina Purshukla Kelsey. We're in October. A lot of people may be thinking about Halloween and the Halloween spirit already. Pumpkin spice latte, maybe. I'm not a fan of it, but some people love it.
You may want to go with the hot pumpkin spice early on in the day and then the iced pumpkin spice latte later on, because it is going to be heating up into the mid-80s. So far for the start of your Saturday morning, this is what we're looking at. A really nice sunrise out there. I couldn't decide on which camera to go with, so we decided to go with both this morning. Clear skies, calm winds. It's a really nice morning. Those current temps are going to be in the low 60s for most, mid-50s for Henderson, Nellis Air Force Base at 64, and Centennial Hills at 61 degrees this morning. Now those winds right around 13 miles per hour for Boulder City, and very calm elsewhere, right around 7 miles per hour for Henderson. Those winds shouldn't be an issue into today, but it will start to pick up into tomorrow. The next 4 hours for your Saturday, we're looking at mid-60s by 8 a.m. and then closer to 70 degrees freeze by around 9 a.m. Still a really great morning if you're hoping to get outside, maybe get some exercise in. Those temps should stay mild through the afternoon. We are going to be topping out into the mid 80s for today. So today's forecast hitting 85 for Las Vegas, 88 in Henderson, 84 for North Las Vegas and Boulder City. Those winds going to be right around 5-10 miles per hour. Now we do have a nice cool down on the way. I'll tell you what that means for the weekend ahead coming up.
Thanks, Kelsey. Homeschooling in the Valley has been growing at a fast rate over the last decade. More parents opting to trade in the traditional classroom to be closer to their kids. 13 Action News reporter Alicia Patillo finds out why and clears up misconceptions about homeschooling.
Welcome to the world of homeschooling, where your average day involves music and it typically starts like this.
So all the rest of the sentence on the predicate side of that line.
Kristen Parks is their mom.
So I've got Mackenzie, she's 16, Emma is 12, Macy is 10, and Addison is 8.
And she's also their teacher.
You can take your time to learn what you're struggling on.
Parks began homeschooling her oldest at just 5 years old.
Never really looked back, it's just kind of become a calling.
A different life than how she grew up.
I love public school, I loved it, I had a great experience.
But once she had kids of her own, she had a change of heart based on her faith.
I think it's less of a problem of public school and more of like the heart issues of broken homes. I feel might be the bigger issue.
Giving her kids a solid foundation and developing a strong mother-daughter bond was a huge priority for keeping her kids home.
Knowing that I was the one that got to teach them how to read, and I am the one that gets to fill in the gaps.
The process enrolling her kids in the state was easier than expected.
It's not really required to have an educational background. Some states are more strenuous.
While some may question whether parents without an educational background are qualified to teach their children, Kristen has a bachelor's degree in special education and was a former teacher.
Now we're going to go to editing.
The Nevada Department of Education says if a parent wants to homeschool their child, they are required to submit a letter of intent, and the district will handle the responsibility. Kristen has heard the criticisms that homeschooled children may not have as many opportunities to interact with other kids who attend regular schools. But she says that's not her reality.
The people that think that homeschooled children don't have socialization just don't know.
Kristen and more than 100 families across the valley participate in a homeschool support group.
We have health, we have cooking, Legos as you see here, there's history, etiquette. It's amazing. We're all moms just wanting to give our kids the best education that we can.
Last school year, CCSD received over 2,000 intent to homeschool forms from families across the valley. We also looked at the numbers from 4 years ago, and that information is online at KTNV.com. There is more news coming from the changes made to CCSD's school calendar for next school year. The entire school year has been extended an entire week, and this is in addition to the staff development days and getting only 3 days off during the week of Thanksgiving. If you want to review the calendar, we have it posted on our website, KTNV.com. A school bus driver job fair is taking place today, and it starts at 8 this morning at the Richard C. White Transportation Center and wraps up at noon. You can apply on site and also learn about what duties are included as part of the job. CCSD provides paid training and assistance in obtaining the proper license. The Las Vegas City Council is looking at a new ordinance making it illegal to camp, sit, or sleep on the street or sidewalk. If it passes, police could tell anyone doing that to go to a nearby homeless shelter or they will be arrested. It also means homeless shelters have to immediately tell Metro if they're full. If there are no available beds, police will stop enforcing the law. Protesters call the ordinance cruel and say it will be ineffective in solving the homelessness in the valley.
There are difficulties posed by having these homeless encampments, but I think the city just needs to join the county in moving towards a housing first policy, and something like this just seems like a jail first policy.
And as we have previously reported, businesses downtown have been urging the city to act after homeless people have been using the streets as their bathroom. The city says the ordinance is designed to solve sanitation issues and direct homeless people to helpful resources. Well, the rising cost of rent is becoming a bigger concern for some in the valley. According to RealPage, rent has increased by 7.5%. Other cities like Phoenix have seen at least an 8% increase. Meanwhile, more people are living in apartments across the nation. Now, the apartment occupancy rate is now at 96%. That's a record high.
They asked for 28 years, and I'm going to be honest and true. I was like, I can't give her 28 years.
Amber Geiger began her 10-year prison sentence, and we are hearing from some of the jurors who decided her fate. ABC's Megan Teresian explains the final verdict was not an easy one.
For the first time since Amber Geiger was sentenced to 10 years in prison, we're hearing from some of the jurors responsible for making the difficult decision.
There's no way we can ever know what he would want, but I think we all had to make a decision that we could live with and that our conscience could be sound with.
In an ABC exclusive, jurors saying they considered what the victim would have wanted to happen.
When we were told to go decide between 5 and life, that was like, we didn't have words.
They asked for 28 years, and I'm going to be honest and true. I was like, I can't give her 28 years. She showed remorse in that she's going to have to deal with that for the rest of her life.
Can I give her a hug, please? Please?
It was this moment of grace that had people talking and crying both in and out of the courtroom.
And one thing that Botham can teach us all is that we should all love each other instead of hate each other.
I waited 1 year to hear I'm sorry, and I'm grateful for that. And that's why I forgive her.
And Jean's brother Brant speaking today on GMA about why he chose to forgive the woman who killed his brother.
I didn't really plan on living the rest of my life, hating this woman. I know that there's something called peace of mind, and that's the type of stuff you need to do to have peace of mind.
Megan Teresian, ABC News, New York.
It is an amazing show of grace. Good morning, everyone. Coming up, a dramatic rescue caught on camera. How police got a victim away from the hands of a kidnapper.
Good morning, Las Vegas. We are kicking off your Saturday morning right with this sunrise and some really nice conditions out there. It is cooler, so you may want to bring a sweater with you if you're headed out early this morning. We're in the low 60s for Henderson, mid 50s for Overton, Mount Charleston at a cool 43 degrees this morning, and 50 degrees if you're in Pahrump, Indian Springs at 45. So it's a hot coffee type of morning, and it's going to stay that way for a couple of hours here. 8 a.m. going to be in the mid 60s, and then 9 a.m. we're getting closer to that 70 degree mark. Later on in the day, I think it's better to maybe switch to an iced coffee. Taking a look at that weather timeline, we're going to be hitting the mid 70s by around 11 a.m. and then into the mid 80s by the afternoon. 3 p.m. we're looking at 83 degrees with that high of 85. 79 degrees by around 7 p.m. Then we're looking at back into the mid to high 60s, 11 o'clock through the overnight hours. So we have a mild but cool night ahead of us. Today, that high of 85 degrees, very close to the seasonal average of 86 degrees. Those winds going to stay nice and light for us, right around 5-10 miles per hour. And we're going to see mostly sunny skies paired with that. So overnight, we're going to see the coolest temp hit 56 degrees. Those mostly clear conditions are going to stick around overnight as well. And those winds will stay calm for us. Then into tomorrow, we see an increase in some of those winds. 86 degrees is the high for tomorrow. So right on tap for the average. And then those winds are going to increase. Here's what that looks like. Today, we're looking at winds right around 5 miles per hour. Shouldn't be an issue for any of your Saturday plans. Then as we get into tomorrow, we see those sustained winds right around 10-15 miles per hour, depending on where you are. That picks up in the afternoon. You could see those gusts up to 20-25 miles per hour. So something to take note of, but it's going to be more of a nuisance wind than anything else. So taking a look here, warm weekend ahead, then we see it actually increase by a few degrees before we see this cool down ushered in by some breezy conditions. 76 degrees by Thursday and 75 by Friday.
Thanks, Kelsey. Caught on camera, a dramatic kidnapping rescue in Raleigh, North Carolina. Police were after a man with a victim inside his car. He started shooting at police while trying to get away. An officer shot back and the man was eventually killed. Back inside the car, they rescued the very frightened victim.
I want all you guys to just get down and pray. Just get down and pray. Get down and pray.
Oof. Frightening moments inside a San Diego church. Surveillance shows a mother pulling out a gun while holding her baby. Police say she threatened to shoot the place up. This happened back on Easter Sunday, but the video was just released. Churchgoers eventually wrestled the gun out of the woman's hand and got the baby to safety. Police later determined the gun was not loaded. The woman has pleaded not guilty to several charges. What Good Morning Las Vegas returns. Well, the first ever Donut Fest is happening in Las Vegas. After the break, join us for a taste of the fun-filled, tasty event. But first, let's head to New York for a look at what's coming up on Good Morning America.
Hey, good morning. Coming up on GMA, fast-moving developments in the impeachment inquiry. Democrats in Congress subpoena the White House. Joe Biden speaks out for the first time since this story broke. And there's a report that there may be a second whistleblower coming. Plus, a private aircraft plummeting into shallow waters after engine failure. The dramatic emergency landing just short of the runway. And finally, a new clash this morning between the royals and the tabloids. Prince Harry fighting for his family after newspapers published Meghan's personal letter to her father. Harry invoking the name of his mother, Princess Diana, as he fights for his family's privacy. It's all coming up on GMA. We'll see you very soon.
Well, good news, donut lovers. The first ever Donut Fest is coming to Las Vegas to satisfy your sweet tooth. So joining me now to talk about the event is Leanne Lindsay and Spiro Pegratis. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Of course.
And I wish everyone can just smell all of this donuts right here. So first of all, let's talk about Donut Fest. It's the first ever happening in the Valley. So tell us when and where it's happening.
Okay, so it is the first annual Donut Fest. And you can purchase your tickets on November 17th. And
it's happening at the
Hofbrauhaus, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so there will be a lot of vendors there as well. And Golden Puffs is one of the vendors that will be there. So these are some of the donuts that people can taste when they go. So tell us more about these types of donuts that we have.
All right, so these are, there are Golden Puffs. So there's no egg or dairy inside the actual donut. So essentially they're vegan donuts. So we call them specialty donuts. They did derive from a Greek recipe that we did get from Athens. We had a friend of ours send over the recipe, and we fell in love with the recipe. And so what we're doing is we're modernizing pretty much a Greek donut. So we're putting toppings on there. They are made to order, so you can customize them. We brought here today some of our most popular. Like we have raspberry swirl. This is dark chocolate with nuts. We have the birthday cake here. And probably our most popular is fried Oreo.
Ooh.
Our traditional Greek donut would be here. So if you were to go into Greece, there's honey and cinnamon and walnuts on there. And then this here is our simple donut with cinnamon and sugar.
So if you go to Greece, you're going to see a similar type of donut, or probably exactly the same type of donut. But you also add your own flavor to it. So you're talking about fried Oreos. Is it fried, or is it just, does it taste like it is fried?
Just a topping. So like if I could show you really fast what we would do if you were to order. We also have one that's really popular and pay homage to our our Knights here. So it's golden caramel Knights. So quickly I'll show you. We would put the white chocolate on top. And then with the golden caramel Knights, we'd put a little honey, caramel or whatever, and then we'd put it on top like that.
Oh, wow.
And then we just put a stick on there to grab it and eat it. And then it's really simple to eat, not too messy.
Tasty.
Yeah, light and fluffy because there's no egg or dairy inside.
Yeah, so this is just one of the things that you can experience at Donut Fest. So again, please invite our viewers to come by and experience Golden Puffs at Donut Fest as well. So when is it happening again, and where can they go?
All right, so again, it's November 17th at the
Hofbrauhaus.
Hofbrauhaus. I have a hard time saying that.
Yeah.
And then also, I think we're doing like I think at the actual event, it's free donuts for a year to somebody that can win it.
Yeah. Everybody, free donuts for a year if you go to the event. So that's whole 12 months of free donuts. So we're going to post this also, all the information online and where you can get tickets. And of course, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Appreciate it for having us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure too. And still to come,